If you enjoy our work, consider making a donation to mixtapestories.net or at Patreon/mixtapestories, all one word. Thank you. Mixtape Stories, creating beautiful fiction in a disappointing timeline. The cosmos is truly wondrous, but the truth is, it was designed by committee. Everyone had a say in its creation, and that has led to a problem. God has requested a meeting with all the stakeholders through their assistant, Gabe, who sent out a calendar invite and brought in donuts for the meeting. Whatever this problem is, Gabe suspects that it isn't something that can be handled over email. Join us for Celestial Committee Meeting by Michael Juge.
Whenever God calls for an all-hands meeting, you know it's not going to be good. I was sitting next to Muse. Time, gravity, and space were all huddled together at the far end of the table, being all cliquish as they are prone to do, whispering amongst themselves and pointing at me. Light was near the head of the table, along with mathematics. There wasn't any assigned seating, but those two were always brown-nosing up to the boss. God was at the head of the table, of course, with physics whispering into their ear. Finally, God shooed physics away.
Okay, concepts and forms. I know you are all very busy, so I'll just get to the point.
Just then, Entropy walked in. Entropy was always late to these meetings. What's worse, they loved asking questions in the form of protracted statements, which made the meetings go even longer.
Nice you could join us, Entropy.
Sorry, I was expanding in the bathroom again.
Just take a seat, wherever is available.
Entropy sloughed over to the table. The space between themselves and the table started growing farther and farther apart. Gravity was there to assist Entropy to stop expanding the space. And then they tried to sit, and then the seat broke.
Muse, could you get Entropy another seat?
It's okay, I can stand.
God sighed. Entropy was the Supreme Being's eldest offspring and had a special place in their heart for them. But they certainly didn't have a special place in any of our hearts. If there was one thing the rest of us could agree on, was that Entropy was a downer.
Where was I? Right. So, it's recently come to my attention that there's a class of beings in the cosmos who is close to discovering the source code.
And with that, the room erupted in consternation. An emergent sentient race within the cosmos discovering its source code? The implications were horrifying. And then Entropy raised its version of a hand.
The source code?
Physics rolled their eyes. Yes, the source code. You know, the algorithms underlying the true nature of the cosmos.
Yes, that source code. Apparently, one of the emergent beings, what are they called again?
God put on their reading glasses to review the notes.
Right, Homo sapiens. Well, it appears these Homo sapiens are progressing too rapidly, and they've got their sights on the grand unified theory.
Homo sapiens? I've never heard of them.
Light said. Time then answered.
Homo sapiens is the technical term for the most recent rollout of hominids. You probably know them better as humans.
Aren't they the primates who invented atomic weapons and cheese?
Not in that order, but yes, those beings.
Space then chimed in. Along with their penchant for violence, they have a real knack for cuisine. Have you ever tried pizza? They're the ones who invented it. Thanks to a little help from me, Muse added with a smug grin.
Yeah, they're a lively bunch with some talent in the kitchen, but now they're about to unravel everything we've created.
I snorted, too loudly. Everyone turned to stare at me, including God.
You have something you wish to share, Gabe?
For a plonk moment, I felt a flash of fear, not wanting to upset the Supreme Being. But that was always my nature, being God's sidekick and doing whatever I could to support their agenda. That's how this whole mess started. The cosmos in question, the one with the t-shirt producing primates who were in danger of screwing everything with the potential discovery of its source code, this wasn't the first cosmos. Far from it. We created countless startup universes over the eons. They were incredible. Nobody had seen anything like it. Well, partly because there was nobody else to begin with. But anyway, each universe we launched was unique, and each had God at the helm of its creation. But you know, God was never satisfied. We were at a beer bash celebrating the creation of the newest universe. It was one of those repeating birth and death cycle types. Muse and Physics were getting really drunk and starting a little frisky with each other. Light was doing karaoke.
Light up my life.
And Mathematics was in the bathroom, holding Entropy's hair while they puked vacuum energy. I saw God over by themselves, gazing out from the deck, sipping on some essence, overlooking our newest creation. They were in deep thought. That always got me concerned. I walked over. Enjoying the party? God shrugged.
Yeah, you all did well.
We all did. And that's thanks to you, Supreme Being. God smirked. I mean it. I mean, look out there. Look at what we created. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's something all right. Another universe in the books.
Uh-oh. God was getting in one of their pensive moods. We stood there together and gazed at the new universe that expanded until it started its collapse.
It's just that I think we could do more, Gabe. So much more.
Just then, Muse walked up with Physics arm in arm, and with that, God was filled with this rush of inspiration. Now get this. God wanted to create a universe that would allow for the creation of emergent sentient beings. Can you believe that? I thought they were just drunk. But then God spent the next week cooped up in their office, scribbling furiously, not coming out of the office once. Finally, God emerged and explained their vision to the rest of us, which got Time a little confused when they asked,
And when you say emergent sentient beings, you mean ethereal, right?
God shook their head.
No, I mean like tangible corporeal beings. Beings made of matter.
I nearly spit out my drink. Was God insane? Up until now, we had only invented the standard universes, the kind that were either the universe that would collapse back in on itself, or the opposite, where the expansion was so rapid that it didn't even allow for matter to form. We had a few universes that allowed some matter to exist, all of it hydrogen, but entropy, freaking entropy. Being God's favorite offspring, God could never see or accept what a moron entropy was, and they always allowed entropy to finish off the universes before they could do anything interesting. Not this time. God wanted to create a whole new universe, complete with complex chemistry, happy accidents, and push entropy's final destruction off as long as possible. Maybe like only after sentient life had come to emerge and grow. God showed us their blueprint for this universe, and I'll admit, it was impressive. The end product would be a universe that would allow for multiple generations of stars, black holes, galaxies, each forming and contributing to more complex molecules. Physics was in the flow with time, and it came up with this idea of organic molecules. All of it was brilliant, no doubt. But here's the kicker. God wanted it done by COB Friday, which was insane for a couple of reasons. First of all, we didn't have linear time, so God got time to go all linear for this cosmos. And second, why COB next Friday? Well, supposedly, God had to take entropy to a thing the following week. Therapy, I think. So we had our marching orders and our due date, and the specs were completely insane. The kind of precision to construct a universe that would have allowed both time and space under the exact conditions to allow for complex chemistry, and right down to things like having water expand when it freezes to radiation being helpful to evolution, so it wouldn't be just a stupid bunch of single-cell organisms. We're talking about something that required exacting conditions. But you know what? We did it. It might not have been foolproof, but it was good enough for celestial work. So, back at the meeting, God glared and asked, "Why did I snort?"
Please, Gabe, if there's anything you'd like to share, I'm all ears.
No, I don't think you want to hear what I've got to say. Physics leaned over to God, whispering some nonsense about me. I had enough. Okay, fine. You want to know why I scoffed? I'll tell you. I mean, since everyone else here is too scared to speak up. That wonderful cosmos you had us rush? It's sloppy coding. Everyone erupted in indignation.
How dare you speak ill of God's greatest creation?
You didn't seem to mind when we were creating it. Everyone was piling on. Even entropy got a few jabs in.
I've got dark energy in my pants.
Settle down. I want to hear Gabe out. Me forbid I should silence an honest critique. Please, Gabe, continue.
Look, I personally love your blueprint for our complex universe, Supreme Being. I do. But you've got to admit, the code is sloppy. I mean, okay, look here. I stood up and went over to a PowerPoint. Okay, Light, riddle me this. In this cosmos in question, are you a wave or are you a particle? Light just sat there. See, right there. You can't even decide something as fundamental as whether to be a wave or a particle. We had to fudge the numbers just so you could fit around as both. Both? Really? Really, Light? I can't tell you that left a lot of uncertainty.
So you're saying it's Light's fault?
No, Supreme Being. Light's just a symptom. In this universe, they didn't even bother to finalize their nature. And we're talking about Light, not some low-ranking law like the weak nuclear force. No offense, weak nuclear force. They waved it off. No problem. And then you have all of these plot holes. Like, okay, how old is the universe? If you look at the cosmic microwave background, any industrialized civilization figures that the universe is 3.8 billion years old. But then physics whispers in your ear, and now the universe is suddenly older?
What are you talking about?
Have you checked the stars recently? There are stars and supermassive black holes out there that shouldn't have existed as early as they did. Now it looks like the universe is, 13.9 billion years old? Physics scoffed. 13.8 billion, 13.9 billion. What's the big deal? The big deal is that we have sloppy coding to begin with. I mean, it was janky as hell. A Potemkin village of a cosmos slapped together in 1 week so it could look all pretty. That's bad enough. But then you have to go and retcon the whole thing? The humans were bound to discover this discrepancy sooner or later. And let's remember that these primates, we let them be really good at mathematics, something I warned against. Time sighed.
None of the other sentients came close to breaking the source code. And they're also good at math. The cephalopods, the cetaceans, the crustaceans, they've all accepted the cosmos as is.
Well, maybe it's because humans have advanced technology. Hey, where is technology anyway?
Light asked. Technology is looking up something for me, and no, it's not their technological sophistication that's the problem. In fact, most sentients are far more advanced than the humans. It's something about them being primates. They're unpredictable.
Oh, really? I thought we agreed that they were very predictable,
Gravity offered.
They mate and they kill and they mate again. Isn't that why the other sentients stay away from them?
They're into violence, but they're also into self-preservation. Remember when we were all convinced that they were about to blow themselves up, and then they got bored and invented the internet instead? I tried to warn you about evolving primates and as sentient beings, but we all had to see what monkeys could do when given the opportunity. Well, here's the result.
These humans, are they really that vital to the tapestry of the cosmos?
I couldn't believe it. Time just intimated that we should rid ourselves of this human problem by wiping them out. Then again, I shouldn't have been surprised. Time can be a real dick sometimes. But what frightened me was that God looked like they were actually considering it. No, Supreme Being, you can't. You never bothered to insert yourself into the universe before, well, except for Super Bowls, but now you're going to smite them? Oh, come on, God. That's not you. God grimaced.
Look, Gabe, nobody's committing to anything. I'm just going over our options.
Well, as you consider your options out there, also consider that those humans have had enough to deal with. They've got self-awareness and the unconscious knowledge of something being off about their reality, which you have to admit, they're right. But they're also animals driven by passion and biological drives. Think about how confusing that has to be both sentient and yet stuck in a body of flesh with a simian brain, knowing you're going to die, and you have no other frame of reference about existence beyond that dim corporeal existence. Jeez, I was beginning to depress myself. They're like orphan children struggling to find their way home with no one to guide them. And here we are, considering rubbing them out? If anything, they deserve our compassion. The room went quiet. More importantly, God looked contrite. It was a rare day that I could guilt God into doing anything. Muse then piped in. You know, I do like their cooking. Have you ever had a donut? They're divine. Everyone suddenly changed their dim view of humanity once they remembered that it was they who invented donuts.
Okay, so we're in agreement. No smiting humanity.
Everyone nodded. Then God stood up.
We rushed launching this cosmos. That's on me. I was the one who wanted it before the holiday, so the buck stops here. But we got a problem, because from what you're telling me, if we try to patch it now, it'll only tip our hands to the humans. The cosmos will appear to be a retcon, and yet, with humanity progressing so fast, they're bound to discover the source code any minute now and destroy everything we created. So, if we're not going to smite them, how do we stop them? I don't know. Should I just step in and announce myself? I'm spitballing here. Help me out.
We considered the idea that God could just come out of the shadows and make an appearance. I think humans had been wanting something like that for a while now anyway. Maybe God could manifest themselves over the skies and say something like, "Hey, you Homo sapiens, got a minute?" God was about to put it to a vote when technology ran into the room. "It's fine, everybody. All's fine."
What's fine?
Technology caught their breath. "Humanity, I solved it. They won't be progressing any further."
Really? How can you be so sure? Humanity's been on a roll.
They were. They were progressing at an exponential rate. But then I gave them a terrible idea. I just got them to invent social media. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief.
Well, thank me.
We were relieved that technology saved the day. So much so that God let us cut out early and even joined us for drinks. Along the way, our ride broke down, but I guess that's what you get when you have Entropy as the designated driver.
Mixtape Stories hopes you enjoyed this podcast. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. You can find out more about us on our website, mixtapestories.net.
The role of God was played by Marjorie Trace Juge, Light by Andrea Jackson, and the rendition of Joan Osborne's One of Us was played by yours truly.